Hello and welcome to the Evolve Pipedrive podcast, where we talk all things Pipedrive, sales, apps, and the Pipedrive marketplace. My name is Bignell, and I'm the sales director here at Evolve. It's my great pleasure to welcome Markus Leming, the co-founder of Outfunnel, who's going to give us a quick demo of some workflows between Pipedrive and Outfunnel and some of the apps that they integrate with. So over to you.
Hey, Bruce. Hey, everyone else. Super excited to be here. Thanks for inviting me over. So indeed, I'm Markus, one of the co-founders, head of product and support at Outfunnel. So those of you who don't know Outfunnel, so Outfunnel is an integration platform that makes it incredibly easy to sync sales and marketing data between sales and marketing apps, keep them in sync so that you don't need to code anything. So regular sales and marketing professionals can just set it up and get going. So you don't need any developers. It's really designed for SMBs. So we have complex, so especially for SMBs who have kind of complex sales flows, long sales cycles, and they use a CRM. So good examples here are consultancies, agencies, construction, real estate, SaaS companies. So basically, if you use the CRM, you'd be a customer of Outfunnel as well, and you'd fit right in. But then before I dive into the demo as well, maybe it's a good kind of couple of minutes good to spend a couple of minutes on kind of the issue that we're really solving, or kind of the issue that sales and marketing professionals are really finding these days. So as everyone knows, we kind of live in the age of apps these days, and all of these apps generate different types of data. So salespeople work in the CRM and sales tools, marketing people work in the marketing tools, and there's heaps of data generated. And the issue is that they don't really sync properly with each other. And that's kind of the biggest thing that sales and marketing professionals say as well, that, hey, I have those two apps. There's no way to get data syncing between each other. So sales often say that, hey, what's actually marketing doing? I have no clue. So they need to go to the marketing app, search for the person and see what they're doing. Marketing people say that they don't get the sales leads. So they're at the same time they're kind of saying that, hey, who should we market to? I have no clue. So there's a lot of kind of misalignment. And how this is kind of solved currently is mainly through manual data entry. So marketing people kind of export the data once per week, import it to the other tool, and they keep doing that, right? So it's a lot of wasted time, energy, a lot of revenue lost because sales doesn't know what's happening, and it's hard to kind of keep the business going like that. So we actually, and on that note as well, we ran like a revenue marketing report recently, where I think around 30% of the SMBs that we surveyed actually said that moving data manually is one of their biggest struggles at the moment. And this has actually gotten worse as well. So the kind of the overall alignment, because a couple of years ago, so we ran it 2 years, this report. 2 years ago, I think around 40% said that their sales and marketing teams are not aligned. Last year, or actually this year, it was 60%, which is super interesting, right? And probably, there's a lot of factors probably that contributed to that. Mostly, I guess it's kind of the working from home element and Corona and these kind of things, right? So people really want to get their data in sync, especially now that there's more and more apps there. And that's exactly what we're trying to solve here at Outfunnel. So our aim is really to get the data aligned, sync your contacts between your tools, sync the engagement between the tools, so everyone has context. For example, I think some marketing people and salespeople, when they sync contacts as well manually, they spend around 2 to 5 hours on it per week. So that's a lot of wasted time, right? That you could be spending on marketing or sales activities. Another thing, right, is that they can't really make the data actionable. So if it lives in a marketing tool and then you want to do something in the sales tool, you can't do anything. So with Outfunnel, you can actually also make it actionable because we sync all the engagement to the CRM. And last but not least, because all the data is in one place, sales reps really can focus on the hottest leads. So that instead of kind of grasping at straws, who has done what, they can really find the leads that have visited their website, filled in a form, engaged with the campaigns, and really focus on them. So which in the end leads to more revenue, hopefully. Yeah. And then that's kind of like that's what we're doing in the broad strokes. So I guess probably the easiest thing is actually I'll dive into the product and show you actually how things get going. So I guess for the purpose of this as well, it's good to note that SMBs are our main target market. So everything kind of I'm going through now as well is something that a lot of SMBs come across and kind of the tools that they use. And then I'll show you how to get things set up. So let me just log into our test account. And this is Outfunnel. So let me just go to the create new connection. I'll cover kind of the high areas first of kind of the different product areas that we have. Then I'll show you the promised land. So I'll actually show you how an engaged or enriched profile in Pipedrive actually looks like. And then last but not least, I'll dive into some of the setups here as well, so you can get more of it kind of insight into how to set things up and what are the configurable options. So firstly, the most important element of Outfunnel is our app connector. So that's where you can choose different apps and connect them with each other. So for example, you can connect Pipedrive with MailChimp or Pipedrive with Gravity Forms or Facebook Lead Ads. Secondly, we have the campaigns functionality where you can actually send out campaigns to your Pipedrive contacts. So it's not a replacement for MailChimp, but it works great for simple email campaigns. Then we have web tracking, which allows you to see which pages your leads have actually visited on your website. Again, good insight for the sales team. And last but not least, lead scoring is something that pulls it all together. So we score different events. We create that lead scoring. You can configure it, and then we create that or sync that into Pipedrive. But cool, let's get started with the promised land. So I have a test profile here that I engaged with earlier today. So in Pipedrive, what you can see is everything is created as an activity in the timeline. So all of these engagements here are created by Outfunnel. So basically, let me just walk you through this as well. So, for example, this is a new lead that submitted a form on the website. And what Outfunnel does, it sees the new form fill and automatically creates the contact in Pipedrive if it doesn't exist there already. And we'll also show you that the form actually has been filled in. So the next step is that as soon as the contact enters Pipedrive, you can set up a connection inside Outfunnel that automatically syncs that contact to your marketing tool, like MailChimp. And then you can see that there's a automatic sequence set up in MailChimp where the welcome email gets sent out. Then you can see that the prospect actually opened that email, that they clicked on it. And then a couple of days later, so yesterday, they actually visited a website or two pages on the website, and they proceeded to schedule a Calendly call because this SMB in question actually uses Calendly on their website. People can book demos, and then Outfunnel also picks up that Calendly call and also syncs it to the right profile inside Pipedrive. And the good thing about it is as well that we'll automatically match it with the right contact based on the email. But if that contact is related to a company, we'll also surface that information under the company. And if there's an open deal, we'll also sync that information to the deal. So even if I go under the deal profile, you can see all of those activities actually show up here as well. So it's super neat. So you don't need to kind of switch between contacts and back and forth.
It's a really good way. So I'm just going to jump in there.
Go for it.
What you've done, what you've got there, from a salesperson's point of view, you don't necessarily need to know the marketing channels or tools that are being used. You just know that new data has come into the system and they've engaged, right? So, what am I trying to say there? Because looking through that, you couldn't tell that there was a MailChimp campaign running. You couldn't tell that, but what you could tell was there was a prospect had engaged with your marketing sequence. So the marketing team can be using whatever tools they're using, plugging that into Outfunnel, that then plugs into Pipedrive to empower the salesperson. Would that be right?
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, often salespeople, they don't really know what tools marketing people are using, and I mean, we see as well, like based on our customers, that marketeers are usually the ones who set up the connections. But I mean, every now and again, there's some salespeople as well.
Yeah.
And then often, kind of when kind of diving deeper as well, why is it the marketeers? Then it's mainly because the salespeople actually tell the marketers in an internal conversation that, hey, I want to understand what you're doing. Actually, I want to understand who are the hot leads so that I can do my job better. and then marketing kind of goes out there and finds tools that can do that, and then they also find Outfunnel with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then before I dive into the connecting element as well, you can also see that there's a field here called lead score. So again, this is created automatically by Outfunnel based on your configuration. And then this is something we update constantly. So if there's, for example, a new website visit, we add points here, and this gets a higher lead score. And then it's something that I'll dive into later in the demo as well, but I can't contain myself, so let me tell you about it already. Is that because Pipedrive has super powerful workflows, you can do a lot of things based on this lead score or even these activities. So I think some of the common use cases are that, hey, if the lead score reaches 50 points, automatically create a new deal or automatically move the deal stage, send a Slack notification, and add them to a nurture email sequence in MailChimp, for example.
Yep.
So there's a lot of things that you can do with that. And then last but not least, we also show you like a quick snapshot of this contact. What was the last campaign that was sent? How many times they've engaged with it? So really good to kind of get a snapshot of how warm or cold this contact is, because sometimes activities get lost. And over here, you can see immediately what's happening. So let's set up a couple of connections actually. So I'm back on the connection creation screen, and the setup is super straightforward. So literally, we see people setting things up in a couple of minutes. So what I'll do here is that I'll set up 3 connections. So firstly, I'll start from the very beginning with the form setup. So there's a couple of different forms that we support at the moment. So Gravity Forms, Contact Form 7, Elementor, and Wix Forms. And there's other forms coming soon, like Unbounce. And all you need to do is select the right app. In this demo instance, I've already authenticated all my apps, but that's just like a one-click authentication to connect Pipedrive or any other tool. So super straightforward. And once I start creating the connection, the first thing you need to do essentially is select a target. And in this case, you can choose which form you'd like to track. And I have a form created already, which is called the demo form. Once I've selected that, I can do field mapping. So over here, let me just do a couple of those field mappings and set this up. So as you can see, it's super straightforward. We pull in all your regular fields and custom fields from both the target, so the Gravity Forms in this case, and also Pipedrive. And you can map these up as you please. And let me just add the phone number here as well. And then last but not least, do I have like a company field here? Company name. There you go. And over here, there's also the organization name. Cool. So I've done the field mapping for now. I'm pretty happy with that. And then last but not least, I can also choose how the engagement is recording in Pipedrive. So currently we support activity and note creation. We'll be adding field updating soon. Most of the people actually choose activity because activities are filterable in Pipedrive. You can use them in reports. So super versatile compared to notes. But once I'm happy, I can just click activate. And then you'll also see this connection appear here in the connection overview. Let me just do a quick refresh over here. Bum, bum, bum. So the screen recording does make things a little bit slower. There you go. Here it is. So you can see it's active and we record the forms instantly. So I have this form that I've set up here. So let me just fill this in. Markus Evolve test. Company name is Evolve Outfunnel. Just combine our 2 brands over here. Hope my marketing head of marketing doesn't kill me. And then let me do Markus at outfunnel.com, and I'll just do February. And then let me just fill in the phone number. So it's 5121. All right. Oops. So sometimes it's a little bit, let's see. There you go. All right. And then, did I have the company name? Where did I put that one? Large text. Evolve over there. Cool. So I'll just go ahead and hit submit. And then you can see that the form has been submitted. So now if I go back to my context overview and do a quick refresh here, then you should also see that the person has also been created here. So let me just do the filter person created is today. And this is the one that was just created then. a couple of minutes ago, so that you can see that all the fields have been mapped over. We've also created the company for you automatically because it didn't exist before. But if it would have existed, we would have combined it, and the full form field is over here. So simple as that. So you can get up and running super quickly. So the next thing that I'll just set up is a MailChimp connection. Again, you need to authenticate and then create the connection. The biggest difference with MailChimp and Forms is that we sync contacts and engagements, which you'd have to configure separately. So for Outfunnel, we regard the CRM as the system of record. So any new contact that gets added there, Outfunnel can sync over to MailChimp and also keep it up to date. So what you can do is set up a rule where you say that sync all of my contacts to MailChimp, or more often you actually want to select a segment because MailChimp charges per contacts. And then, let me see, I have this Evo hot leads segment created here. And then I have the MailChimp audience selected. And then again, I can set up the field mapping and choose which fields I'd like to sync over. So for example, you can also choose to sync over to that tags field. So I know that that's one of the fields that people use the most in MailChimp because you can actually segment those campaigns. But you can also do any other field mapping. What you can also do is you can turn on the new subscriber syncing from MailChimp to Pipedrive. So in a scenario where you actually have new leads coming into MailChimp directly, you can ask Outfunnel to automatically spot those leads and create that contact directly inside Outfunnel, for example. And then once this has been set up, you can go ahead and set up the engagement recording. And over here, again, super straightforward. You'd need to select the target first. So I have an audience called Outfunnel Test, and then you can choose how to record all these different engagements. And by default, everything is an activity. With unsubscribe, what you can also do is you can set up a field update. So in this case, I have the Pipedrive label where I have a label called unsubscribed because I want my sales reps to know as well that, hey, this person has actually unsubscribed from the marketing.
Yeah, and it looked like you could also choose not just a label, but
Yeah, exactly. So currently we support all the single and multiple option fields, but we'll be adding regular field support soon as well. So basically, you can just choose like a text field and set a custom field value here, even if you'd like, per audience. So there's a lot of things you can do here. And then I'll go ahead and activate the connection, and then you'll also see it appearing here. So one difference between the regular form fields, which are instant, and the MailChimp sync is that with the MailChimp syncs are run every 4 hours automatically. So if there's a new email campaign that goes out from MailChimp, Outfunnel checks it once every 4 hours and then syncs over all the engagement. But you can always trigger it manually by clicking on sync now. So usually the sync completes within 10 minutes. You can click sync now and things go out again.
Cool.
So I won't be sending out a new campaign at the moment, just for the sake of the keeping to the allotted time that I've been given in this demo by Bruce. But what I can do is I can subscribe a new contact here. So let's say there's actually a form. You use MailChimp Forms, and then what I'll do is I'll just set up a new new contact over here. And then let's call it let's add a tag here as well, which is marketing lead, and then subscribe. So let's say that's the form that you have on your website for newsletter, etc. And then you add the tag here. So once that has been subscribed, then Outfunnel picks it up, and again, you should be finding it there you go, synced over already. So you'll find it in Pipedrive. You'll see that Outfunnel used all the information, so tag has been synced over as well. And we actually create an activity again that, hey, there's a new subscriber. And again, this is super powerful in terms of workflows. So you could use this new subscriber here and actually automatically create the new deal if you'd like, or send a notification via Slack. So that's the MailChimp sync. And then last but not least, actually one of our most popular connections is Calendly. So when you set up Calendly, it operates much like a form, but instead of forms, you have those meeting types. And in this case, it's connected to our company Calendly. And then I have this test Pipedrive meeting type here. And again, the workflow is the same. You choose the target, you do the field mapping, and then you can choose how to record that engagement over to Pipedrive. Super quick to set up. Once I click activate, let me do a quick test here as well. So this is the Calendly link that or Calendly meeting that I just set up. So it seems that there's availability on Monday, Tuesday. Let's call this person Monday at out.com. And then I'll just keep all the other fields empty for now. Let's just call test over here and schedule event. And as you probably noticed by now, Outfunnel creates that contact. And with Calendly, the meeting activity that we actually sync over has a little bit more information. So it might take a little bit of time. Let's see. Does it appear now? All right, so let me just show you the other one that I had before and the funnels, just to show you the how it looks like. So basically the same activity is created with all the field mappings, but you also get the contact time zone information here, and you can also directly reschedule and cancel the call directly from inside Pipedrive.
And then from the salesperson's point of view, that's then an activity linked to the individual. So then you would find that in your activities in Pipedrive.
Exactly. So what we usually do is we use the if the contact exists already, we use that person's information ownership. If the contact doesn't exist already, it's possible to set up a default that we always sync to. And then we're also thinking of adding round robin at one point as well, just to make it a little bit more flexible even.
The larger teams, like a couple of people we've been working with, round robin's super important.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the connection. So super straightforward, really focused on the sales and marketing tools and solving those use cases. So for the foreseeable future as well, our main goal, kind of the roadmap wise, is to add more apps. Next ones up will be Sendinblue and HubSpot Marketing that we'll be adding, but we'll be adding out a lot of different forms. We already connect with Facebook lead ads, but we'll be adding Facebook audiences soon, which is really powerful if you, let's say you got a new contact and you want to start remarketing them right away. So all you need to do is set up a segment in Pipedrive and sync that to Facebook audiences with Outfunnel. And then if a new person gets added, they get added to the audience. They get 3 marketing ads. If a contact gets removed, we stop sending. Facebook stops sending them ads. So again, Outfunnel is kind of the brain in the middle that connects all your sales and marketing apps together. So then let me spend a couple of minutes on web tracking as well, because that's something that I think most of our users use as well, simply because it's super powerful and gives more insight to the salespeople. So all you need to do is install a tracking script on your site or use our WordPress plugin. Once it's installed, you can start seeing all the people who visit your website, and you see where they come from. So over here we have some test website, but basically you can see if they come from LinkedIn, if they came from Google organically, from LinkedIn CPC. So you can see all that information. As soon as they click on a link in your email that you send out from MailChimp, for example, or fill in a form on your website, we identify them. We just need that one moment. And after that, we can start showing you specifically the pages that they visited during that session, where they came from in the past, originally on your site, and we can track all their future visits. Doesn't matter how they land back on your website. So really, really powerful here. And then last but not least is lead scoring, where you can set a score for each page view, email open and email click, and you can set an expiry. So depending on your sales cycle. So usually if you close deals within like 90 days, you basically set it on 90 days and 180 days.
Yeah, so you had, obviously you showed the example of the 42, and then you said there's a good use cases if it goes over 50. This is what it's driving from here, right? So
exactly. So that's what it comes down to. So for example as well, I mean, just very quickly, right? If you set up a new custom workflow, then what you can just do is go here, add a trigger, and you can say that the person is updated, and then the person lead score has changed, and it's higher than is more than 50 points, and then you can set up any action that you'd actually like here. So really, really powerful. And that's, I think, like these workflows, I think it's one of the best functionalities of Pipedrive as well. Is you can do a lot with it. And then another thing, or one of the final things I wanted to show you here. So firstly, in Outfunnel is campaigns. So with our campaigns functionality, as I mentioned before, it doesn't replace like big players like MailChimp and ActiveCampaign. It's more meant as a very simple email marketing tool where you can set up email campaigns, so basically sequences, set the delay between those emails, and target it directly to a certain segment in Pipedrive. So you don't need to import, export any contacts. We immediately tie into your contacts in Pipedrive. And the emails itself, I mean, they're really meant for marketing use cases, but we don't have like a drag and drop functionality here, but it's mostly like a very simple email tool that you can personalize, for example, with the person's first name or any other fields. You can add images, buttons, but it really comes across very personalized, basically.
Yeah.
So great for nurturing. And then as the final thing, just wanted to show you kind of how you can surface these activities as well. So especially if you're a sales rep, right? The activities tab is probably a super interesting tab that you want to keep track of. So you can just choose the different activity types that are all Outfunnel created. So for example, you maybe want to see all the people who unsubscribes. You check this every morning, and then you might want to follow up with them, or you want to follow up all the latest website visits. So you can just set up a filter for yourself here and check those out and reach out to them. And for the managers, what's really interesting, actually, let me jump over to here, is that you can use all these activities in a report. So you can actually see right here in Pipedrive how people have engaged with your marketing campaigns.
Yeah.
So all of this data actually is coming in from other apps, right? But you can surface them inside Pipedrive Insights tool.
So on that point, is that because of the custom fields or the activities? Because all of the Outfunnel integration, it was activities or notes currently, right? So
Yeah,
because it's an activity.
This is an activity, exactly.
You can then track it. Nice.
Exactly. So you can see actually here as well that in November there were 8,000 email activities, and I think 5,000 of those were sends, and then there were some opens. So you can really do some high-level reporting over here as well. And the same you can do for demos, right? And because this is really important for managers to be able to understand how their sales reps are performing. So we record Calendly meetings over to Pipedrive, so you can also use that as one of the inputs for those reports, actually.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that comes up all the time, so that's great.
And yeah, so that's a quick overview of Outfunnel. Hope it wasn't too long.
Markus, that was brilliant. No, it was wasn't too long. I think you covered obviously from MailChimp to Gravity Forms to Calendly. Touched on the kind of email marketing campaigns within Outfunnel. I think you also came through just how easy it is to set up, right? So like it is no code. Yes, there's an authentication piece, and yes, there is a workflow element in terms of understanding how you want to get the best out of this. But it's that was a brilliant walkthrough. That was my first time seeing it. So thanks so much. That was brilliant.
Happy to help. Happy to show you around. So yeah, cool. So I mean, if forgot to say that in the beginning, but we do have a special offer at the moment as well for everyone who's listening to this or watching this. And I think Bruce, if you can, I can share a link as well, and you can add it to the video. But we're offering 25% off for 3 months for everyone who kind of follows the link that you find under the video, and you can get set up and running.
Brilliant. So whoever's watching this in the future, that's 3 months off, 25% for 3 months. And if they look behind your head, it says sale is now. It ends today. But
sale doesn't. Not today yet.
Not today.
Soon.
Okay. Soon. Well, brilliant. Well, thank you for that, Markus.
Cool.
So once again, this has been the Evolve Pipedrive podcast, where we actually interview people that have apps on the Pipedrive marketplace. So if you found this useful, please consider liking, sharing, or subscribing. And if you want to give Outfunnel a go, we'll be sure to have the sale 25% off in the description below this video. Once again, thank you, Markus.
No worries. Happy to be here. Thanks, Bruce.
See you.